You're born in the heart of winter, nestled in a cozy den carved into a hillside, far from the prying eyes of the outside world. When you first open your eyes, well, open is an overstatement because everything's still fuzzy, you realize you've got a sibling or two squirming beside you. You can't see much beyond your mother's massive, warm belly. Her heartbeat is your lullaby, the soft rumble in her chest, a constant reminder that you're safe, albeit in a pitch-black environment that feels more like a weird dream than actual life. Winter eventually retreats. Spring sunlight starts piercing the darkness as Mum decides it's time to stir. You blink in amazement at the blinding brightness when she finally nudges you to the den's entrance. Snowmelt trickles down the hillside, and crisp air fills your tiny lungs. The world smells of damp earth and possibilities. This is a big day. You're about to take your very first steps outside the only home you've ever known. Those first few weeks outside the den transform you from a bumbling fuzzball into a semi-coordinated mini-bear. You wrestle with your siblings, batting each other's ears while Mum snorts in mild disapproval. Occasionally you test your climbing skills on fallen logs, though climbing might be too generous a term for the spectacle of you sliding off with an indignant squeak. As spring rolls into early summer, your daily routine is all about calories. Finding them, eating them, and occasionally wearing them all over your face. Berries finally start appearing, and you indulge in them with the enthusiasm of a toddler unleashed on a dessert buffet. Mum teaches you which berries are safe, the juicy ones that stain your muzzle purple, and which are definitely not, a mistake that might earn you a sour face and a stern grunt. Then comes the highlight of your summer salmon. Word spreads, or at least the watery equivalent does, that the rivers will soon be teeming with fish on their upstream migration. Mum leads you on a trek to a fast-moving stream, the smell of fish thick in the air. This is your first real introduction to fishing, which at times looks like a comedic circus. After a season or two of successful salmon hunts, juicy berry patches, and a range of other foraging feats, you start outgrowing your cute cub phase. You're now a yearling, bigger, stronger, and definitely heavier. Wrestling with siblings gets more intense as you test each other's strength. Occasionally, your mother breaks up the squabbles with an exasperated snort as if to say, "Kids, take it outside," which is hilarious since everything is outside. Eventually, you reach a point where your mother decides it's time you fend for yourself. This can happen around your second or third year, depending on her mood, health, and how many siblings you have. She might abruptly turn grumpy, swiping or growling in your direction when you approach for any handouts. You realize the pampered cubhood days are officially over. Welcome to the School of Hard Knocks, Ursine Edition. As a recently emancipated young bear, you roam from valley to ridge, testing which spots have good fish runs or abundant berries. Sometimes you strike gold, an untouched patch of fruit, or a secluded stream teeming with salmon. Other times you find competition adult bears that have zero interest in sharing. A few more seasons pass and you're no longer the scrawny subadult. You've beefed up, honing your fishing technique to comedic precision, diving, snatching, and sometimes flipping salmon onto the bank like a flamboyant chef. You've also discovered the wonders of body fat. A thick layer of it insulates you against cold nights and keeps you fueled when food is scarce. You might weigh several hundred pounds by now, muscle hidden beneath that plush coat, and you're well on your way to the next big stage of bear life, mating. Congratulations, you've arrived at full adulthood, that sweet spot where you're a force to be reckoned with. Each year you cycle through the seasons like a well-oiled machine. Spring, wake up and forage. Summer, salmon runs, wild berries, and casual territorial scuffles. For the most part, you prefer a quiet life of fishing, snoozing, and rummaging for berries. But humans have a knack for showing up in unexpected places. You might stumble upon a campground lured by the smell of grilling hamburgers, or a hiker might freeze mid-trail, panic etched across their face as they realize they're mere yards away from you, the big, beautiful brown bear they were hoping to see from a safer vantage. As the seasons roll on, you enter your twilight years. Maybe you're in your teens or early 20s. Brown bears can live over 20 years if all goes well. You have scars that tell stories of territorial battles and successful hunts. Your muzzle may start graying. You move a little slower, especially in chilly mornings when old joints creak. Yet you still feel a surge of pride when you sink your teeth into a fat salmon or discover a hidden trove of acorns. Eventually your last winter approaches. You sense the deep fatigue in your bones, the culmination of countless migrations, foraging trips, and narrow escapes. You find a suitable den site, perhaps an old hollow under the roots of a wind-felled tree, and settle in for one more hibernation. Cocooned in your nest of leaves and moss, you drift off into a peaceful slumber. Should this final den also be your resting place, know that your life in the wild was as grand as it was unpredictable. You grew from a blind, helpless cub to a regal master of forest and river, shaping the next generation's future along the way. Somewhere out there, a newly emancipated young bear is forging its own path, following faint paw prints you left behind. The cycle continues, eternal, rugged, and undeniably bear-like.